Right, greetings. How are we? Good. Thank you so much for coming through. So fine, we want to start. Time is very important. We wanted, the program was scheduled for 10, and we wanted to kickstart at 10. Nonetheless, let's start now. So if we can all stand and someone to just give us an opening prayer, and then we can start. So can we have a volunteer to give us an opening prayer?
Yes, Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, we thank you this morning that you are God. We thank you for allowing us to be here to learn how to parent and raise our children in the fear of the Lord. Pray right now, Lord, for every attendant here, Lord, that you may ground us through your words, through the lessons that we get here. We pray for every parent who steps into this land, into this room right now. Oh Lord, open our minds that we may understand. Infuse us with grace, my God, with the grace to understand, the wisdom to know, and the knowledge to be grounded. In Jesus' mighty name we pray.
Amen. Thank you so much. We can take seats. Madam, come. The seat is yours in the front here. Yes. So allow me, first of all, to really thank you so much for taking time to come. I've always cherished, to talk about parenting, 9 years ago. And I'll be making frantic efforts to post that I want to share with parents for free on parenting, and it has not been possible. But then I tried to find out why, and I discovered that parents believe that by giving birth, by conceiving, they qualify to be parents. So they think that it's not necessary for anyone to talk to them about parenting. That's what I thought. But anyway, because you are here, then we'll talk about it and we'll see how far we agree. So this is going to be the first in a series of monthly parenting meetings that we're going to be having. So we will be talking about parenting. Every month we'll choose a date and we'll meet here and we will just share a bit. So today what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give like an overall view, a synopsis of parenting from a perspective of coaching. And of course, we are going to be interacting, and I'm going to share also, some tips that you can apply so that we can get our parenting going on well. So parenting to me is the second most important aspect in our life. It's number two. Number one, it has to be the marriage, but we are not talking about marriage today. And I'm going to share why. You are going to find that the quality of any citizens in any country is determined by the quality of parenting that is going on in that country. So apparently, I've never been given this opportunity. If I was going to meet the number one in the country, I was going to share the same sentiments. That the most important thing, if we are futuristic, is to prepare a sound generation, a productive generation for the future. So what we are doing, we are careless. We are not responsible. We don't even care what is going to happen when I die. This is what is happening. So you are going to find that how we parent today will shape this very nation in 20 years' time. The quality of the leaders during that time will be determined by our parenting today. So I see most of you here are almost my generation. And this generation has a big problem. My generation has a big problem. We are always boasting that, look at us. We are mannered. We are this, we are that. And it's not because of you. It's because of the parenting generation that time. This is what we are not clear about. We are always saying, look at us, we are punctual, we are time conscious, we are focused, we are not like this generation. Who is responsible for this generation? Who is responsible for this generation? It's not me. Who I have become today is because of my mother, because of my father. So really, we have chosen a hands-off approach, and we are very good at talking about this, comparing our children with us. Little do we know that the responsibility lies squarely on us to parent well. I want to share with you that America is said to be a very strong nation. And if you do research, you will find that it is yes. Number one, Americans have got a high sense of self-belief. Wherever you go, they believe that they have capacity to do anything. They believe in themselves. They've got high self-confidence, high self-esteem. Why? It is socialization. It is how they were socialized. These things where they were being told through and through that you are the great nation. You are born in a great nation. We are the chosen nation, and so on. And we drum these things in the minds of the young people. They grow with that attitude. So one day, I was working in Mtare then. I had an interaction with this Indian guy. I was doing some consultancy for him. And then I had an opportunity to speak to his son. And then I was saying to the son, I think he was in grade 3 or so, I said, what do you want to do when you grow up? And it was amazing. And this is about 5 years ago. It was amazing, the response. The guy said, Coach, I want to run a business like my father. And of course, I want to have people working for me. This is a grade 3 child. So this information did not come at birth, madam. It was nurtured in him by the socialization that he was going through. And then I said, who do you want to work for you? He said, these people like the one that are working for my father. They'll be working for me. So already the orientation is at that level. He believes it. This is a great reach out. So I thought I would start like that. Don't be very much afraid. I speak with passion at times, particularly when I talk about real matters. When I speak about my coaching is not theoretical. I don't use theory, but we are talking about things that are happening and how we can make better, the situation around us. So fine. So this is what we, as international coaching, we've decided that we'll be running these parenting sessions, every month, just once, maybe 10 to 1, and just you have an opportunity to share, mingle, and also get to learn from your experiences. I also believe that learning is an attitude. I believe that learning is a lifelong activity. I believe that I'm a student of life. That's what I believe in. So I learn also even from you. So this is what we are here to do. Our identity, okay, something happened there. So our name is called International Coaching and Mentoring Foundation. We've been around from 2016. We are a duly registered organization. This is a trust registered 2016. And yes, we've been around up to today. We are still counting. So we have put together this particular presentation just to share with you. So it's called 21st Century Parenting. That's the title. And the idea is to clearly distinguish parenting in our days, the 19th century, parenting in the 20th century, and of course the current and the trends that are going to be taking place in future around parenting. Of course, parenting is a very broad area. I will not be able to cover everything today, but there are things that I've selected that I hope are very pertinent. And then in the subsequent sessions, we will definitely be sharing on other issues. So the 21st century, what characterizes So this is what we should start off with. In this place, in this space, the 21st century has got its own characteristics, and we want to talk about this. Everyone should be in the group. There's a group called ICMF Smart Parenting. If you are not, by way of registering there, they will add you. And this slide, I will post it after this. You get it? I will definitely post it, because the idea is to empower you. We want to continuously build this together. So yes, you can take pictures, whatever, but you are sure that immediately around 2 o'clock or so, the admin will definitely post it. So we are told that there is globalization. I think you are aware of that. During my time, and some of you can attest, it was not heard of for someone to go to Botswana. Do you know that? The whole community will know that Mrs. So-and-so went to Botswana. But we are talking about globalization. Now people can travel physically, they can travel easily, like that. But globalization also has been brought through internet, isn't it? So you can talk to someone in America, you can learn anything, their culture, everything. So globalization, the technological innovation, something that is clear. Climate change, environment concerns, this is 21st century. Shift of power dynamics, this is also, it's related to rights. It's related to rights. So during my time, patriarch was very entrenched in our society. Patriarch, the theory that says the man is the head of the family. But of course, this is actually taking place. And men, we should not bury our heads in the sense, these things are happening, these things are true. And we should be able to face them head on. So you see, one thing that has also delayed, these changes that we need to do is because at times we believe that, no, is it really happening? No, it's not. Even with our children at times, when someone tells you that your child is into drugs, at times you say, no. You are the last person to believe in that. But it's the same thing as well. The power dynamics in our interactions have actually changed. And in the past, we used to respect so much. Anyone who goes to South Africa, comes back, would respect them so much. If someone who goes to UK, it was even unheard of during that time. But that has changed. Social media influence. I will share with you that if you are a parent, and you are in here, you must know that there is a third parent. So you could be the mother, the father. There is a third parent. And this parent is conquering the first and the second parent. And this is social media. And of course, I will share why that parent, is more acceptable by your kids or not. So we are competing. And I want you to be aware of that. Social media is not judgmental. Social media will do whatever they want. So we are competing. But the issue is, are you winning, madam, the competition? Are you winning the competition? Because at times we fight so hard in losing battle. There are times when you put so much resources and this thing is, you can tell that this thing is not going to give me the results that I want. So there is a lot of war that we need to address. The cultural diversity and inclusivity. This is 21st century. There's something that is called cultural dilution. So if you are my age, you want your kids to behave the way I behaved when I was growing up. Clapping hands in the buses. When an elderly person comes, we stand and they sit. Is that happening? So there is a lot. And this one, number 6, is big. And like I said, we are in perpetual denial, particularly Africans. We believe that what was should always be. We are in perpetual denial. Do you understand this concept of LGBTQ? Do you understand it? The lays, gays, transgender, and so on. Do you see it? It's coming full force. And you know, statistically, I was reading, preparing for this session, only to learn that more males are opting to change gender to females. Are you aware of that? Are you aware of that? So we are raising a generation that's saying, no, 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 no. I want to change my gender. And it's because of our parenting interventions. So there's a lot here, there. Of course, I will not, like I said, workplace transformation, health and pandemic awareness, like in Africa now, yeah, I think we are in for it as well. We are not very sure. The MyPox, you've heard about it, isn't it? We are not very sure where it's going to go. And the other challenge is that 21st century is characterized by information overload. There has never been a time like this in the history of the world where information is accessible as it is. We used to respect teachers. Do you know that? Because that was the only source of what? Of information. And the children of today, they will not respect a teacher because they can still learn. They can still, at times they are more intellectually gifted because of their access to other sources of information other than school. So it's because of the 21st century. So if you were brought up, so unfortunately parenting, no one cares about parenting, particularly in this country. So this is what really hates me. No one cares about, should I learn? And I only discovered that I also did not do the best when I was parenting my kids. I did not. And the reason why I borrowed parenting skills from my mother, from my dad. Who did what? Who also borrowed from their own father. Madam, do you want to use ancient techniques to you can't with the 21st. That's why we've got these problems. That's why we've got these problems. So now we need to step aside, go through some learning a bit, get to understand, particularly human development. How does the human being develop? That's one aspect. We also need to understand what we call generations. Why the generations are different. You see, when they talk about Generation X, I'm a proud Generation X myself. So Generation X, Generation Y, Generation Z, Generation Alpha, when they talk about those generations, they are saying that there is a significant aspect that has socialized this generation. That is different from the other generation. I hope you're following what I'm saying. So why do we have Generation Y different from Generation X? It is because during the period they were born, these people, there were significant matters that took place that affected their personality, their orientation, their thinking. I hope you're getting it. So we say that there was generations that begin with baby boomers 1, post-World War 1. They're called baby boomers. And they were unique. They went through the war when they were children, so they understand what was happening. There were a lot of sanctions, there were shortages and so on. So they have a different way of relating. Baby boomers 1. You get it? Baby boomers 2, it was post-World War 2. Post-World War 2 and post-World War 1, they were different. There was also in the post-World War II, there was some industrialization that was taking place and that was affecting. That's when education now, began. And then we've got Generation X, my generation, 65, if you were born 65 to 1979, you are Generation X. And of course, there were things that were common during that time. And then in 1980 to 1999, we're the generation that was always asking, why do you do this? Why should we do this? You were supposed to explain. So our parents were telling us instructions. Generation X is called an instruction generation. And if you belong to that generation, naturally, if you are told, close the door, you just close the door. Because you don't ask. You were socialized to follow instructions. Come generation Y, why should we close the door? You get it? And now the parent is generation X. And the parent is saying, don't ask me those questions. They are silly questions. And there is a clash now. Do you get it? Someone today, children today, teens today, they can sue their parents for failing to pay school fees. Did you know that? They can sue their parents, go to court, take their parents to court that this person is responsible for my upkeep, but they are failing to do that. And you'll be asked to come there and answer to those particular allegations of failure, negligent parenting. During my days, when the father says there's no fees for next term, you say, fine, so can I find work to do so that I organize my fees? So it's a different view altogether. And that is because of the issues to do with information. And one of them is to do with the rights. ECD today, they are taught that I have a right to shelter. I have a right to education. Your child. Eh? I have a right to be heard. I have a right to choice. ECD. So we are saying the periods, the times have what? Have changed. But now the challenge is they are changing fast. You see, at times in the past, a generation would maybe 15 years. Now the generation can't be 15 years because the rapidity with which things are changing will not allow that. So this 5-year group are different from these ones. So parenting now becomes something that we need really to take care of. So I was talking about the 21st century, and I wanted to say why raising kids today is harder than ever. Overwhelming influence of social media. We have agreed that social media is the third parent, and they've got access to this parent all the time. Safety concerns, increased anxiety, the pressure to be a perfect parent. Because of all this, one thing that I always say is your 21 hours, your 24 hours a day is being chased by a lot of things today. Our parents in the 1990s did not have so many things to attend to, but they still had 24 hours. If we go back the days of Chaka, the Zulu, Lobengula, those guys had 24 hours. But how many things did they have to do? Besides maybe going to the field, hunting and gathering, and they sit and they do nothing. But today we have a lot. We are trying to hustle, trying to balance internet and so on. There is a lot. So as a result, we are going to find that, at times we have got so much pressure to be the struggle between work-life balance. I'm going to maybe briefly talk about it. But what parents have done is they are away from their children in the pretext that they are working for the same children. They are not with their children. And I want you to calculate what percentage of time parents have with their children, working parents. I have known parents who leave their homes by 5 a.m. when the children, ECD child, is still asleep. They go to work and they knock off at 5 with these other issues, congestion. They arrive home 8 and the child is almost sleeping. If they can, they'll say, hi, how are you? And so on and so on. Before they know it, the child is dozing. And you calculate how many hours, what fraction of 24 hours they have in contact with their children during the week. So you're going to find that there's a very big disconnect. You are a stranger to your own child. But we are saying, we are working for our children. Keeping up with the rapid technologies advantage. So you are going to find that, particularly my generation, I was trying to explain to the other group that me, I am equally fascinated by the iPhone 16 like my 16-year-old. Do you know that? I want you to have that appreciation. So cell phone technology was not there when I was growing up. So now they are introducing iPhone 16. My son wants to go through the applications. He wants to learn. He wants to see how they work. I also have the same curiosity because I never had an experience with this iPhone. I hope you're getting it. So we're actually competing to know. It's not like, the father knows, so he doesn't really care about this. I am still equally fascinated and I want to learn. The rising cost of living and education, yes. The decline of community support. I have a slide and I'll talk about this. And the slide says, whose child is it? So if you have a child, my question is, whose child is your child? Do you get the question? And my question relates to the fact that, number one, if you have only 1 hour with your child after work, and the teacher has got 6 hours with your child, and the community has another 4 hours with the child, whose child is this? Whose child? Because your child should take up, your own values and everything. So whose child is this one? But in the past as well, you would know that we would say that a child is raised by the whole village, isn't it? So that's another dynamic as well. You beat my son because he was not doing something, I take you to court. But in the past, a child would never report to their parent that I've been beaten up by Mr. So-and-so, because the parents will then beat them again. All right. And then, yes, overload, I talked about this, pervasiveness of screen time, that's another thing as well. So this is technology as well. Screen time, remember screen time, we're talking about small screen, the phone, we're talking about the big screen as well, the television. And of course, a heightened awareness of mental health issues. So we're saying these are the challenges that we are facing. Now, why focus on parenting coaching? To give parents more effective child rearing techniques, to make it easier to get their children to change their behavior, to decrease parents' stress, increasing their time and energy to make changes. So, Patron Ninyai, I'm very to praise for this stress. Sakatofana utakaita manage their space, isn't it? Before they actually then contribute to positive nation building. So I was talking about this one. And so this is where I want to emphasize. And I'm hoping that you are going to be sharing the same view with others. The quality of the doctor that is supposed to attend to you at the hospital is determined today by your parenting. Are you clear with that? The qualities in the soldier who is holding a gun, whether they are emotionally intelligent, whether they have bitterness, whether they have issues, it is because of the parenting that they are going through, the socialization. So now there is a pandemic in our country called corruption. How do you fight corruption? Corruption is a generational issue. It has to be fought generationally. And by that I mean, what values are we instilling in our children? And hustling has been a very popular word. Is hustling? Is hustling legal? Is hustling the right way to do? I'm going to show you a short video as well where you learn that children, as they grow, between 0 to about 12 years, they are learning 80% of what they learn by imitation. They learn by what? Who are they imitating? It actually then decreases to 60% and 40% as they grow. But the greater part, and I want you to know that 0 to 12 years. So who have children between that period, 0 to 12? 1, 2. So if you have a child 0 to 12, that's the most important part of life. Whatever they ingrain as values, they will not depart, 0 to 12. If we miss it there, it will be very difficult. At 13 years, it will not. You can't begin to instill something new at 13. So 0 to 12 is critical. Anyway, I wanted to highlight nation building, and I hope you are getting it. So the quality of even these guys, Windy and everything else, the quality of those people, it comes through socialization. And the greater part of socialization is parenting. And we also want to tell the truth that the chief socializing agent in a family is the mother, because they spend more time with the kid. Yes, the father is a socializing agent as well. So we are saying that the quality of the nation in 10, 20 years' time, it is what you have done today. So we talk of nation building there. So those who have access to even the president, I really want this message to go there, that we have work to do to ensure that when we are in our graves, we have peace. We know we have done the right thing by ensuring that we cultivate, we nurture a generation that is going to be productive, a generation that is going to be responsible. So think about it. Someone grows up and they say, no, they are a boy. They say, no, I want to change to be female. Running away from responsibility. Imagine this is the you will see it, because now it's still, very insignificant, so to say. But I tell you, wait, madam, give yourself 5 years. You'll see. So what resilience are we creating in our children? So there's something that is called resilience. We were brought up and we were trained in resilience. That kind of shingirira. You know it. But we have got so fragile children. Swimming pool. I can't. I want swimming pool. And we have parents who will gladly do that. So I'll talk about those parents just now. So I wanted to say, yes, of course, yes. So I was saying, why focus on parenting? So this is the second slide, just to raise well-adjusted children who have skills to communicate their needs, communicate effectively, get on with others, get on well with others, always do their best. They manage their emotions. They feel good about themselves in a safe, secure, and loving, low conflict environment. And of course, I was asking this question, whose child are they, your children? Whose? So you're going to find that social media is going to be part of it in raising your child. Your community, where you stay matters, madam. Yes, where you stay, where you stay. The choice of where you stay matters. So there is something that they call H&E in child development. So H&E stands for heredity and environment. And they say that who you are today, 20% of who you have become is because of heredity. And what is heredity? Heredity are the characteristics that we borrow or that we get from our parents when the sperm and the ova meet. These are the sets of instructions in the chromosomes. So heredity, so it's 20%. 80% of who we eventually become is because of the environment, is because of the socialization. So you'll find that socialization plays a greater role. So there's more that we need to do around that. So yes, so I was talking about heredity and environment in psychology. So you're going to find that heredity 20%. Zvauri nhasi togara takati isusu pachi vanhu wakatodza baba and so on and so on, kakawanda 20% yacho ma-physical characteristics only your complexion, your color, your shape, full stop. Are those important? But the 80%, which are your emotional control, how you relate with others, and everything else, is actually the other side because of environment. Yes, so the environment, so this is heredity, and this is the environment. So nurturing, how we nurture our children, how we bring them up, this is the environment. This is E, and this is H. This is heredity. And I wanted you to find that physical appearance, personality is very little there. And then, of course, the example is blue eyes from parents. Those are the key things. But here we are talking about influences on behavior, development, personality, and everything else, learned skills, executive skills, and all these things. The person that we eventually become, predominantly, it is the environment that is shaping us. So where your child is at the moment, if you have a child, when I'm asking you this question, where are they? They are drawing 80% of who they will become from that particular environment. Vanoswera vari kupi nani, but mai vacho havadaro one. Sei achidaro, it is because yechi environment. This one, I want you to watch it later. Yeah, so that one is a video. I want you to watch it later. So I wanted just to show you these pictures here. And so this is parenting. I want to talk about a few things about parenting. And I wanted to find out. So what do you see here? What is very important in this picture? Yes, sir.
The parent is bringing himself down to the child's level.
Powerful. Together. Yes, sir.
Child communication.
What man's also. So it's not literally going down. Madam, it's not like that. Even the thinking. Your child cannot go up to your age. I'm 57 next year. But my child cannot go to my age. Because I've been 18, I've been 24 before. So I can, yes, moderate myself and get there. This is not physical, this diagram. It's also talking about you getting to understand what they are going through. So as Famba say, whoa, all right. You know, you need to, but no, and this is also, as far as no. And some of us are very quick to say, even in sekuru wangu, baba wangu in wangu wasingani bumiri, ayo, baba wako waridi. It's different. So you need to be able to take yourself to to the age of your child. And I want to say that your child, even you, we have 3 ages, isn't it? Tine makore matatu. Munhu wega wega une makore matatu. Pane chinonzi chronological age. Chekuti mtakazvarwa kubvira rini, ndizvo. Kozoita inonzi mental age, ndiyo yatiri kutaura. Kuti muri 50 something, muri 40, muri 30. But ayo, kana muchitamba neakaka, mental age yenyu, nguva iyoyo, ngaitodzoke. Isvike uko, ndiko kuti tinzwanane. Right. And then this one, I also wanted just you to see. Third age is called emotional age. Emotional age. How able are you to manage difficult situations, difficult moments? It matters. Even your children, go to preschool. That's where you are going to see. You are going to find that emotionally, they are all 5 years, 5-year-olds. But emotionally, you are going to find that the other one is biting others, always fighting and so on. Always, the other one is always crying. They are literally always crying from morning. And the teachers, have trouble in ensuring that, they pamper them so that they don't cry. So that's emotional age. We have children, 16-year-old, who behave like they were 27 years. So emotionally, it means their age is up. Something has happened. Maybe they've lost a parent or something has happened, but they can still, manage, emotionally. So the third one is emotional age. So so I wanted you to see, and of course, I was asking when I put these pictures, I was asking this question: that do you really have this intimate time with your child, where where there are no cell phones here? But I also wanted you to look at this as well. Suppose I want you to understand. Do you see she's folding hands? Do you see that? Did you notice that she's folding hands? Yes. It is communicating something. It is communicating defensiveness. Because iyo iside inokutaura munhu kuti munhu ari kuti no, leave me alone with my things. But the mother is making time, eye contact, very close, no distractions, and so on. So I thought I would share with you. So I want to talk about this quickly. I will not waste time. So parenting, what we are here to sort of learn, parenting is about two things. So if you are a parent, you are basically doing two things. I want you to know that. So parenting should not be as complex. If as a parent you are doing just two things, you are demanding or responding. That's what you are doing with your child. So I want to find out whether you are demanding to the right levels, whether you are responding to the right. So when you are saying demanding, you are giving them boundaries. You are saying, no, this can be done, this can be done. I want you to be here by such a time. You are demanding that they conform to certain standards that you expect. Are we there? So parents demand. Madam, are you there? Are you demanding? So that's my question. How much are you demanding? So parents demand. Fine. Come end of term, I want to see your report with so grades. You are demanding. After you are done with your plates, I want you to wash your plates. The parent is what? Demanding. Then the parent should also respond. That's the other function. So the parents are doing two things. They are demanding, they are responding. Simple. So what do you respond to? You respond to the emotional needs of the child, which most of us are not giving. And I want to share with you that if you are not, how old is your child?
13.
Okay, the last one. 3. A girl. So do you hug her?
Yes, I do.
How often? Every day. Okay. Once a day.
I spend most of my time with her, like from morning until
Okay.
because I work for
All right. So I wanted to share with you that on responding, one area that we should respond, that many parents are not doing so well, it's emotional responses. And as little as insignificant as you might think a hug is to a child, it is responding to an emotional need to be cherished, to be loved, to be shown affection, to be regarded as important. Particularly the 3-year-old, that they need that. And there's something that is called trauma. You know trauma? I know you are used to trauma because there's an accident, someone has a limb, cut off or something. Traumas are not only the bigger, significant issues that happen in people's lives. For a grade 3 child, if they are not hugged and they see other children being dropped at the same school, being hugged by their parents, that's traumatic to them. Are you aware of that? It's trauma to them. And do you know where the trauma is coming? I can see you are asking, but no, it should not be trauma. But do you know where the trauma is coming from? They are going to say then, why is Betty being hugged by their father? And my father is saying, jump out of the car, go to your classroom. What have I done not to deserve that? Is there something wrong with me? Am I not as good as, don't I look so good? So the child, instead of focusing on their books, they are now worried. Yes. Can you comment? Yes.
Okay, so I'll comment on that one. We have realized that most kids who do Kamsaki, Kamsaki or develop a certain characteristic when they are there and what. Because their parents have no time for them. Okay, I was saying we have realized that most kids that do thumb sucking, you remember the one that attains the and then also some of them they just develop a certain whatever trait of maybe rubbing something. In most cases, it's because the parents do not have time for their children, and we realize that most health workers have children that suck their thumbs, which means the theory is true because most health workers don't have time for their children. They usually have maybe night shifts, day shifts, and they can't really interact with their child. So in other words, the children are not having that responsiveness from their parents.
She's adding to that. Did you get it? But we are saying it's traumatizing to a child not to hug them when other parents are hugging them. I hope you're getting it. Are you following? Very, very important. So I was saying, yes, parents either respond or demand. So I was saying, when we respond emotionally. We also respond intellectually as well. A parent has a responsibility to stimulate intellectually their children, asking them questions, quizzes, spellings. What's that letter there? You are walking in town. So there's also a need to intellectually stimulate them. And of course, physical stimulation, the cuddling, the massaging, also all those things are important. So also responding to their needs in terms of physical needs could be school, whatever is required at school. So I want you to appreciate that either you are demanding or responding. So I'll quickly talk about the four types of parents. So parent number one, they are high Ds. We call them high Ds and low Rs. So when we say high Ds, low Rs, we are saying we have parents who demand a lot and don't respond to the needs of the child. Are you there? So we have parents who are very high in demanding and they don't respond. They are always saying, I don't want you to do this, you must not do this, you must not do this. They are always, giving them rules, boundaries, and asking them to conform to a particular way of life. And they never respond to the needs of the child. So they are high Ds, high Rs. And these are the majority of the parents. And if they are the majority, it means even here, they are the ones that are in the highest percentage. Are we there? So these parents are called, so this is the type of a parent. Instead of, we saw earlier on the parent going down to the level of the child, talking to them, but this is the parent now. And look at how she's looking at the parent. So if I talk to my child and they look up like that, I present myself as an authority figure in their life. An authority figure that they cannot talk to, that they cannot question, that they cannot freely ask. So this is what's happening. So authoritarian, so that high D, when you demand a lot and you don't respond to the needs of the child, you are called an authoritarian parent. Yes, and these are the things that you do. The parent is demanding, not responsive. They are called also totalitarian parenting or strict parenting, characterized by high expectation and conformity and compliance to parental rules and directions with little dialogue between the parent and the child. Do as I say. And apparently, some of us believes that saka uri mwana wangu. And yes, is a restrictive, punitive. So this parenting style, the parents are always saying, if you don't do this, I will do that. They will say that even before the child makes a mistake. Do you know that? They use fear, they use punishment as way of nurturing their children. Ukangorasa Mario yochet, that's the parenting style. There is always something that they are going to use, and it's fear or it's some form of punishment. They are going to be doing that all the time. The parents, they expect much of their children, but do not explain the reasoning for the rules and boundaries. So that's how we parented. My mother would literally say in the morning, she would go get a road and say, this one is for anyone. This is in the morning before we actually do and commit any offense, any breach. So you work with that. So she was instilling fear more than anything. And you are going to find out, I'm going to talk about parenting and the outcome. Parenting and the outcome. We're talking about it, remember. So every parenting style has a certain outcome and the person that we eventually become. So they are less responsive to their children's needs, demand obedience without explaining, focus on status. The outcomes, they may be less, they've got less social competence. You don't interact well with others, you fear, you've got so much, confidence. Once you fear, confidence goes down. Self-belief, these parents also don't believe in you. They are always telling you instructions. So even if you've got your own way of doing things, they will never give you that freedom. So unotokura usina confidence yezvo unoita iwewe muupenyu. But ukazobvunza kuti but nditaurire utoti mamine right answer. But you cannot say that answer because you are not confident. The environment nurtured you to fear, to have so much phobia, in terms of authority figures. In some cultures, ethnic groups, Asian, more positive. Of course, I was talking about the Muslim here. Sharia law, for example, it's actually authoritarian. But you're going to find that there are less crimes in those particular areas. If the demands are pushed too forcefully upon the child may break down, rebel, run away, even lead to suicidal thoughts. Are we there? So in our group, I'm going to share that also in this group that we want to form with the parenting that we're calling smart parenting. So in our group last week, I posted, someone actually sent me this information that in Maswingo there was a 12-year who had committed suicide, a girl. So I posted it on the group and I was saying, let's discuss about this. And the girl wrote a two-page letter. Did you see it? You saw it? And she said whatever she said. So when that discussion was going on, someone from Kadoma called me, I think this week, it was on Wednesday, and said, Coach, another girl has committed suicide in Kadoma, just a few houses from our place. And so he told me the incident. He said that, so this girl, she's 12 as well. So this girl, the mother left for church. And the mother was supposed to come back on Sunday. You get it? So the girl then decided to have sleepovers somewhere. So Friday morning, she got home in the morning only to come across the border. So, and the mother said, go back where you were. So she went back. And of course, naturally things, don't work that way. She was fired there as well, so she committed suicide. And yesterday, police in Bulawayo at NAST University, they discovered a decomposing body of a student. There are new hostels that are being constructed. They are not yet complete. No one stays there. But I think construction had been halted, maybe because of funds or something. And people saw flies and so on, and they discovered the body of this student. And it was suicide. They said the letter is there, but they didn't want maybe to disclose what was contained in the letter. But we are talking, the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because of this. So when you force them too much and you rebel, they run away. When they run away, you lose a child. Wakazohara, but you have lost a child. So you can push your child to run away and you have lost that child. They will no longer consider you as a parent. You won't have a parent-child relationship anymore. You know the story of Manyeruke and Gaspi Warrior. Do you know it? Do you know the story? That eventually, if someone had to come to mediate, are you aware of that? So because Manyeruke was a strict father in Salvation Army, Christian, and so on, and the child started growing dreadlocks, singing that type of song, and Zim dancehall, and the father said, no, not in my house. And he walked away, did his things, continued. I think there was about 8 or so years, they were not even talking to each other. Until one prominent person says, fine, can I bring you together? And like we were saying, Manyeruke had to come down to the level of the child. But let it not be forced upon you. Let it be natural. Let relate well. The child had a choice in terms of their career, had a choice in terms of their path, isn't it? Belief system. But you can still nurture them to believe in what you want, but in a nice way, so that they accept it, isn't it? I'll talk about that, why at times we have that. So this is another parenting style. What do you see here? And these are the majority of the young parents. The young parents. These ones. Anotodonzwa nemwana kuti uya kufiriji. It's 12 midnight idzodzo. Uya mudipe ice cream. Imi munotomutsa mota na 12 midnight munotengera mwana ice cream. Over responding and not demanding. So that's the second parenting style. Do you get it? And some of us have got very plausible reasons for doing that. It's not about that, and we are overdoing it. So this is what's happening there. Kato in a room yako, and no one even checks what they are browsing or whatever. They are there. They've got their own things. And the parents they've got all these multiple gadgets. Pane TV, pane phone, pane iPad, pane Wi-Fi. Meno mazwani Starlink kuti zvichafamba sei because munhu wese anenge atoina. So ane madhizidhori ane izvo ari ega, they are there in their own world, poor socialization skills because they are there, they socialize with artificial things. They are playing games, they socialize with artificial things. And do you know what teaches our young people games? My games, anoziva kuti kana iri wrestling, kana iri FIFA, I am conquering. Kuticha mwana kuti each time zvaunoda ndo zvinoitika. Because eventually as they play their games, they actually are the ones that are winning all the time. And they can ask that character to do this, to do that. And they believe that, after that, they believe that I can tell anyone also to do exactly what else. That's what we are nurturing the child to do. So yes, it's called permissive or indulgent parenting. And the parent is responsive but not demanding. They are also called permissive, non-directive, or lenient parenting, characterized by having few behavioral expectations of the child. Zvaitika izvozvo akaramba kuenda kuchikoro nhasi ndizvozvo haasi kuda akati hasina kugeza nhasi, it's okay. They get away with that. They are nurturing, they are very nurturing and accepting and are very responsive to the child's needs and wishes. So they will say, I want ice cream at 12 midnight. And what do the parents do? Go to the garage, start their vehicle, look for a 24-hour kiosk, buy ice cream, take back the child, go to bed. And no, with a mind, we must want. Do not require children to regulate themselves or behave appropriately. Like I said, this one I'm going to post it on the group so you can have access to this. Outcomes: children of permissive parents may tend to be more impulsive, as adolescents may engage in more in misconduct and in drug use, because whatever they cry for, it will happen. And without you knowing, children at times can manipulate the parents. And you are saying, no, I am responding, I want the best for my kids, I do not have access to these things, but there you are, the outcomes now. Also, in better cases, they are emotionally secure, independent, and willing to learn and accept defeat. They mature quickly and are able to live life without the help of someone else. Because half the time, they are also, like I said, closed up in their room, and they are given that. So this is number 3. This is number 3. So number 3, it's okay. Can I? So number 3, low D, low R. Are you there? They don't demand. They don't respond. Their parents are like that. They just look at the child. Anything goes. They don't even care. And they are called uninvolved, detached, dismissive, hands-off parenting. Where is your child? Anani, Arkuite. Some parents don't even know. They expect to see the child in the evening just to sleep. It's like a dormitory. They leave in the morning. They're not even caring where they are, who they are, what they are doing. They come back. And it's actually happening. And such children, neglectful parenting results from a variety of reasons. Of course, prioritizing themselves. But business, every time they are with their work, they don't even as long as they also lack encouragement on finance stresses as well, lack of support, addiction, and harmful kunyanya apa. Kana zvakubata is, as a parent, you will be not there for your child. Low in warmth, control, are generally not involved in their child's life, are disengaged, undemanding, low in responsiveness, do not set limits, are dismissing of their child's emotions and opinion, are emotionally unsupportive of their children, but will still provide the basic needs. So that's what they will do. Outcomes: children develop a sense that other aspects of life, of the parents' lives, are more important than they are. So there was something that circulated at some point when a child said, when I grow up, I want to be an iPhone. Did you see that? There was something that was circulating, not now, I think a few years ago. The child was saying, I want to be an iPhone when I grow up. And people said, why do you want to be an iPhone? So that I can be in my dad's hands all the time. Because the dad was always holding what? The iPhone. And the child was yearning, missing that nature. And the child was comparing themselves with the iPhone that the dad is always holding. So exactly that. Children often attempt to provide for themselves, so these children as well, they grow up into believing in the theory of survival of the fittest. They know that if you don't get this, no one will take care of you. So they go out with that mentality. They are fighting. They are doing this. The street kids, they grab. They have a survival of the fittest mentality. We actually grow them, and they become adults with that mentality. They become emotionally withdrawn from social situations. We call it disturbed attachment, and this impacts on relationships later in life. So on this one, I want to share with you and say, as parents, relatively young parents like this, do you know what happens? We are focused on our own personal development. That's what we are focused on. You are focusing on, having another degree, doing this, being promoted at work, driving the latest car, and so on. And you are neglecting attention on your children. But when you come to my age now, success is never reflected on me. I hope you're getting it. So at a later stage, so this is where now a lot of things begin to happen. You are in perpetual depression, and you are stressed, you have got stroke, you have got issues now. Why? Because you are looking back and you're saying all your kids are home, they're not doing anything, they're not being successful, and everyone is talking about it. Sweet. So at a later stage, success is not about you. For now, it's okay. This is the car that you're driving. This is the house that you're staying in. Fine. And people clap hands for you. They celebrate you. But at some point, they will still come back to you and say, fine, you are staying in Mandara. You are staying in Glenlawn. But where are your children? That's what they do. They now want your children to reflect your success, your ability to have nurtured them well, and you have trained them. You have had parents, I normally give this as an example. You have parents who say, my next door, wachikuti, chambo Buddha, tukumboenda ku South Africa, kunoona Jeni, motisarisiro pamba. Asi tabva ku South Africa, tienda ku Australia, ndokuna Peter. Tabva ukoko tazopfura nepa Liberia, tozouya asi titarisiriwo pamba. These are some of the parents that are saying that. And all your kids are at home. This one is on this one on that, there are the issues and so on. They are at home. Tell me what level of stress are you going to be going through? Even if you have resources to take care of them. The reason to parent, what is the aim of parenting? To nurture a child so that they can be independent, they can be a productive citizen and lead their own successful life. Only that. And I could be talking about my child all the time, because my success now is no longer about my own achievements. So if you don't do well, we hear some parents, they never even talk about their children because, they are there. So very, very important, this that we are talking about. And then the last one that I'll talk about is high R, high D. Get it? This is the last one. So this parent is demanding. They demand. They sit down with their child. They tell them, I want you to do this. You must pass at school. I'm sending you to a very expensive school. I'm paying this, but I want you to do that. But they meet also the needs of the children. They are very good. They balance. They talk to the child. The reason why I don't want you to go and play with others is like this. They qualify their boundaries. They don't just impose their boundaries on their children. So the parents are high on demanding, assertive and democratic, balanced parenting, characterized by child-centered approach that holds high expectations of maturity. So you also allow them to do. So when you have a 10-year-old at home, you're not supposed to be closing your garage gate or your main gate or ensuring that they are locked. No, you give them that task. Your work is when we are about to sleep, make sure that you do that. And then you as the father now, when they have closed the doors, locked everything, you say, thank you so much. But, without them seeing, you go and just check and verify. And you are actually building a sense of responsibility in them from a tender age. That's what, this parenting involves. It allows the kids to do things, monitors them, but of course with that particular guidance. Can understand how children are feeling and teach them how to regulate feelings. So one thing that I want to share with you is that of all the needs in your children, the most important to develop is the emotional ability. That is where everything is centered. At times, intellectual ability is not as important as the emotional one. So half the time we consider, how good our children are doing without, taking care of the emotional side. How do they manage, situations where they don't do so well? Regulating their emotions is very important. And do you know why? Unfortunately, some of you hold high offices around. Unfortunately, the curriculum from grade ECD to PhD, there is nowhere where it teaches how to relate well with others. Say, have you ever seen that subject or somewhere? It doesn't.